Hi everyone, James here. Welcome to another quick video. I thought I'd chime in on this thread. Bands or artists which don't get much love on the VC. It was a kind of inverted thread. It started out as this thing, bands that everybody loves on the VC but I don't like. I didn't get involved in that one, but I thought I would do this thing because this actually sounds quite good fun. This is, artists which don't seem to get much love on the VC. I'm not going to spend too long on it. I'm going to whiz through. The first one, I couldn't find my album, so I had to go with a single. This is Runaway by Del Shannon, one of the great kind of early rock and rollers, fantastic singer-songwriter. Runaway was his big famous hit. Just a great kind of timeless rock and roll guy, really. I hardly ever hear anybody mention him. Grebo 69, I think Graham has shown one record by him. That's the only person I think. This one again, you'd think you'd hear more about the Big O. Just the best, greatest pop singer of all time. An incredible voice, lovely guy as well. You know, he had a real kind of tragic story there, but it kind of ended okay in the end. He joined the Travelling Wilburys and had this big kind of success at the end of his life. But why don't we hear more about Roy Orbison on the VC? Nobody ever shows his records or talks about him, including me. I put my hand up. This is the first time I've ever shown Roy, but he's the man, Roy Orbison. Another couple of kind of older guys. Surprisingly, very, very rarely hear about Buddy Holly. Absolute seminal artists, inspired the Stones and the Beatles. One of the first, if not the very first, kind of singer-songwriter with a high profile. I suppose him and Chuck Berry both together kind of invented the idea of the self-contained rock and roll singer-songwriter. All the stuff he wrote was on 3 chords. Just a great, wonderful genius of rock and roll. Okay, next we have the great guitarist John Martyn, who I'm going to do a whole video on at some point, hopefully soon. John Martyn, to me, he's up there with Nick Drake. And it's so ironic because people sort of, listen to Nick Drake now and there's all this big thing, why couldn't Nick Drake have made more albums? Wouldn't it be amazing if Nick Drake could, live to be whatever, 50, 60 years old and, continued making great music? Well, guess what? We have John Martyn here, who did make music as great as that and who did live to be much, much older than Nick Drake, but he has nothing like the profile that Nick Drake has. I very, very rarely see anybody hearing or talking about him, and I mean, the guy was an absolute genius, This is his album Piece by Piece. So yeah, John Martyn, stand by for a video on him. This is a group who I don't hear anybody talking about, even people from their homeland in Australia. This is Mental as Anything, who they turned into a slightly cheesy kind of 80s pop band. But kind of early on in their career, they kind of started off as the Australian Squeeze, really. They did kind of, songs about drinking and having hangovers and really good, kind of catchy songwriting. I think they were pretty big in Australia, but I never hear anybody talking about them. So, Mental as Anything. This is a great record to pick up. It's got most of their kind of big hits on it. A really important singer-songwriter who wrote songs for Elvis and all kinds of people. This is Mickey Newbury. Heaven Help the Child. I don't recall anybody ever showing a Mickey Newbury album on the VC. I could be wrong. I mean, people show things I don't get to see. But I have a kind of medium-sized collection of Mickey Newbury stuff. He sort of wrote for everybody. He was based in Nashville, I think. And he did very kind of slow, quiet, meditative songs. But a really, really good songwriter. And now he's upside down. I'll fix him later. I've got a fly in here now buzzing around. Another person I never see shown on the VC, really inventive songwriter. Damon Albarn is a fan of his. This is Jimmy Webb. Check him out if you haven't done. You can find his albums not very easily, but they are kind of, about the place. He might have a reputation as being a bit middle of the road, but his song structures are really interesting, lyrically, quite kind of off the wall, quite kind of, challenging material. It's good stuff. Jimmy Webb. A Brit, Steve Gibbons, West Midlands rocker from back in the day, from Birmingham. He did some cracking albums. I think Graham has shown a couple. I've certainly shown a couple. I've not seen anybody else. Steve Whitty may well have shown him. But yeah, Steve Gibbons is one of those kind of cult names really in the UK. He's still on the kind of touring circuit, but I think he's really on the pub circuit by now, or the kind of small club circuit. He had one hit single back in 1978, a cover version of the Chuck Berry song Chilane, but it was just before punk broke big, and that kind of nixed his career really. So yeah, his bass player was Trevor Burton, who'd been in The Move. So that's Steve Gibbons. And the final one I've got for you today, I have a video planned on this guy as well. Again, Graham has shown him. One or two other people have mentioned him in passing, Jorgen, but in general I never see Thomas Dolby on the VC, and he is a complete and utter genius. Okay VC, hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day. Bye.